Vanakkam Chennai, and we are here with Miss Smita from 4i App Solution. What we want to do is, before we introduce our guest of honor for the day, let's look at the background to this series and the organization facilitating it. So, we'd like to thank Sapient HR, and this is session is called as Leadership Lens Beyond Titles. So, we are not looking at any leaderships from hierarchy or titles which is being printed on the business cards, but we are looking at leaders who reflected through their influence, vision, courage, and the ability to inspire people to transform and go beyond expectations. What position I do hold is not what matters. What impact we create is what we require at this juncture. And it's a thought provoking HR leadership podcast series created to look at this shift across in the market. We want to focus on mindset, people strategy, organization culture, and future ready leadership practices. Objective is to incorporate the best HR practical strategies, looking at leading with purpose rather than position, align people strategies with business outcomes, build resilient governance and high performing team, navigating complexity with clarity and confidence. We look at bringing in global leaders across into this podcast series, and why this podcast is important is how do we attract and retain the right talent, building a culture of trust and engagement, managing hybrid and distributed teams, a great challenge at this juncture, adapting to technological and AI driven changes, preparing leaders for guiding organizations through uncertainty. So, warm welcome to Smita ma'am from AI Apps Solution. Before we introduce ma'am formally, we will have a small video presentation to honor our guest of honor for the day. That was a short introduction about Miss Mridula, holding a great position with 4i Apps, handling talent acquisition and capacity building. Warm welcome to our episode 8, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Joel. So it was indeed a very big and crisp introduction. Anybody would like to have before any session start, and thank you for providing me this platform as well as introduction to Sapient HR. Thanks to Joel and Arun for this wonderful kind of sessions and bringing me in here so that I can also commute. I can converse my skills, my experience so far. In the beginning of the session, you have definitely said something right, like as leaders, we have many responsibilities. And it's not that I don't, kind of say myself as a leader. I'm one of you. I'm one of all the people who are there, who are working, who are just there in any kind of organization. So it's all about learning that how we are taking it, how we are kind of taking up the evaluation that is happening now. This is more about it. And when it comes to me, as you have rightly said, that I'm taking care of recruitment. I'm part of the talent hiring team in 4IF Solutions with 15 years of experience, and also I'm into resource management. We also call this workforce planning, and I'm proudly doing it from 15 years. And yes, I'm somebody who is also having keen interest on technology. And it's not that I'm a techie person, but definitely I'm having a very little interest on learning technology, because I understand that things are going to change, and this is the right time for us to also work together towards technology, just to survive, okay, just to learn. Apart from that, I'll also introduce myself as a proud mother, and also a homemaker, because these roles are very important for anyone. As I have to say that these are the roles which teach you empathy, resilience, and somebody who can balance structure and serenity at the same time. So managing a household basically is as enriching as a professional journey, because it keeps you grounded in many meaningful ways. And I'm someone who loves to connect with people, and I definitely like to bring in more people together, ideas, possibilities, whatever is possible in the organization. Yes, with a crisp and twist of technology in. And apart from that, yes, I'm always open for genuine connections and thoughtful communications, meaningful conversations. If it is happening, it can be in a collaborated kind of space, or it can be in a very small farm or a quiet place also. Any 2 or 3 person, any random person, but meaningful talks is always my interest. This is all about me, and definitely will like to look forward in the session, and hope it's more insightful to everyone watching it today.
Absolutely, ma'am. I think you just resonated with what our theme stands for as a leadership lens. There's no filter. Let's be open about our discussions and conversations, because we have learned so many things from our past experience. But what
True.
changes it across is the touch of each person. You say in Hindi as the Midas touch. So what Smita could bring into the system is different. What Dr. Arun or what Indwin can bring into the system is very much different. But what we brought through our own journey is a learning for a lot of people, because that's what is about the storytelling and the next generation of transforming the leaders. And
Exactly.
I think that aptly sets into the context with our topic for a discussion today. And today's topic for enrichment from Ms. Smita is about the future workforce. So when you say you looked at the talent acquisition, the talent management, the retaining stuff, and the workforce management across the resource planning, how do you see future workforce as going beyond trends, or is it just the buzzword across for this generation to hear?
Okay, I think I cannot finish this telling it in just half an hour or 1 hour time, because it's more of experience that it is of 15 years. Okay, so being in the industry for more than 15 years, you should know that what the change is all about. So recruitment, we are talking about Gen Z, we are talking about technology, new platforms, skills over experiences. We are talking about all those stuffs. There is a huge change, Joel, like, in the last 15 years. When we talk about recruitment, it's not like the same now. Okay, so people are definitely choosy. People are conscious about their skills. They want to put their skills in the right place, and it's not like they will just take whatever you give handy to them. So they know to make choices. Okay, so there is a big shift from the traditional hiring we say at last 15 years that we'll be doing, and some hiring now, it's a big change. And what I say about the future workspace, future workforce, what I want to say is that it's more technology enabled now. Okay, it's more about technology, it's more about adaptation to the new platform, it's about learning, continuous learning. It's not about the fixed roles that we had, no, that you are just a technical guy, you'll be just knowing this technology from this technical part. It's not like that. It's more on the flexibility now. It's about various roles. We say that obsolete roles. We are not into obsolete roles now. We have moved on. There is change of trends. There is change of skills. The way you want to choose yourself as per your capacity. People know how to choose it now, and it's not about you yourself. It's about the company. It's about you as a person. It's about the technology. It's about the work you are doing. We all have to, kind of evolve together. Then you can actually move ahead in today's trend. So yes, there is a big shift to see, Joel, in terms of hiring.
I think you could brought in a lot of perspective with regard to your exposure from 15 years of your journey. So how to look at workforce, how it is transforming. You looked at, I think also you also touched on the biggest forces which are shaping the workforce today, the learning and the unlearning that needs to happen, the change management, and you also talked about the demographics and the technology
Yes.
and the employee expectations, because you said about different generations coming into the workforce now.
Yeah.
So can you look at it like if you're looking at changing the nature of work, I think can you say something about what's the shift happening towards the, are we moving towards the skill based economy, or are we still stringent about the role based structure which we used to have, which we still have, I think, but I think the shift is happening. So what's your take on that?
It's more on my experience. Okay, so when I talk about my experience, I will tell you a few examples to just cite your question well. So when I'm talking about examples, I had certain hiring experiences some 10 years back, and there were some freshers that we were hiring, and based on their collective scores, we have given them a complete role being a technical consultant. Okay, so they came out and they were doing that well, and everything was going fine, and that was 10 years back. I'm talking about some examples 1 year back when we are hiring freshers, and we were the same way. We have done their collective scores, we have done their aptitude, GD, communication, everything was over, and we have placed them in some separate kind of departments that we choose for them. But they are coming out and talking to us about their choice. So this people, that freshers, the Gen Z I'm talking about, this is completely about the demography that we have to say, the Gen Z demography. So they are coming out and talking to us that we are not okay with this technology. I want to learn something else. I want to move into BI. I want to move into data analytics. This coding is not my cup of tea. Please change my department. So now the thing is, they are talking about flexible roles. I'm not going to say yes to a fixed role. I am talking about flexible role. I want to come out. So this is called skill focused. So they know their skill. So they are going towards a skill focused kind of job, and they know how to identify it. So that is the difference. So if I have to give my take here, we are going over skill hiring. Yes, the trend has come where we'll have to give some importance to the skills rather than going ahead with experience or a degree. Yes, degree is important, but at the same time, a skill is also to be valued first, because it's the interest of the person. It helps in many other. There are different kind of advantages of skill hiring also. Maybe in the later part of this podcast, we'll be able to say, one being retention, one being the interest, one being they are going collaboratively with the organizational values. So few things can definitely be arrested if in case we do a skill based hiring. When we talk about the changes, yes, it's not the fixed role anymore. So companies are moving towards hybrid. They are talking about remote kind of work roles. We are talking about hybrid culture. We are talking about gig works. Okay, so all those kind of things people know now. So they know that what I have to do. So whether I can focus on my skill alone, sit at home, yeah, incentives are also important, compensation. So they see that whether this compensation and their skills are in the same track or not. So this is the difference between the fancy hiring that we do today, and it's high time for us to concentrate on the skills as well, Joel.
It's a long, detailed answer to a simple question, but I think sometimes the simple questions are the difficult questions to ponder upon. And I think it's rightly said, and I could also connect it to the basic foundation, because I have done my engineering, and then I have shifted into the HR space. So I always used to question our fellow HR leaders, why this and why not the other way around. So I think put across, degrees can only take you to the entry level interviews, but how do you perform depends on the skills which you bring into the table. And I think I can also correlate it to Maslow's theory of needs. The needs have evolved over a period of time, and I think we are also shifting towards gig economy. I will cite my personal example. I did my MBA post marriage, and I did it at a period when I left my full-time job and I used to take consulting assignments. So I used to face a challenge with the traditional HRs leaders, saying, Joel, you have shifted organization in a very short span of time. So they were looking at the so-called stability per se, and I
Yes.
always had that challenge, making the leader understand, because it's not about the stability concern, it's about the person who wants to explore a lot of things ahead of the time. So I think I was ahead of my time, because I wanted to explore different industries and everything. So I would like you to share your insight. I think you also put some light on gig economy. So how do you want to look at the gig economy from an organizations per se, and how do you define job in this ever dynamic business transformation which is happening, which is also impacting the modern organization?
Uh, for an organization side, from if I have to look from an organizational perspective, they have to go for a change. So there are so many companies who are into transition already. So we also have to aim on transition. If the company is, kind of looking for a change, then why not workforce? So workforce have to also think about growth. So if you have to talk about growth, if you have to talk about aligning with technology, we are talking about AI automation, we are talking about Gen Z entering the workforce, we are talking about flexibility, your skills, your purpose. Actually, if in case everything comes together, if company have to fear about it, workforce also have to think about it. So if I'm talking about gig economy, it's two way, it's mutual, right? So if in case I want to hire someone now, for example, we do have projects sometimes, and we need some kind of technology where internally we'll not be able to fulfill sometime, because we may not have the technology working under us at all. So how do we, kind of take care of such request? So what we'll have to do, we'll have to look at the market and see like whether we have somebody who can give us some freelance time or help us on the training, and kind of take it ahead in a business side. Okay, so that is a win-win technology again. So if in case I am looking for somebody who can help me out, I also have to allow somebody to go ahead and do something that they really interested in terms of economy. So it's I think it's mutual always when we talk about growth, and people nowadays are not actually ready to just sit and learn the same thing, and the request everything from clients etc globally. If in case I talk about business again, they'll not look out for one technology in one person, they look for 3-4 technology in one person. So it's high time for everyone to look towards learning different skills, different technologies, so that their weightage of the weightage of their profile is more. so that we can definitely kind of use them in multiple kind of technologies, not that we're depending on only one person for one technology. So it's mutual, Joel, always.
Okay, whatever we discuss here are our personal opinions. I would like to flag it across because sometimes some organizations are a little more traditional mindset
Correct.
when we're looking at the business handling and thing.
Mm.
And but I think you rightly pointed out, looking at it's going to be about the organization and how they take it across with the business need requirements and taking shape. Okay, so how do you look at organization with this gig economy coming into play, the different multi-generation people coming in? How are we looking at being a digital first workforce? Can you share some insights or your thoughts on that?
See, we used to put the tag in any organization like, digital first. Okay, so we as a service based company, okay, or if I have to say a product based company also to their customers, what they will like to see, how different you are from some other competitors of yours, and we'll put the tag as we are digitally we are we are just moving ahead on the traditional side, and we are completely digital, we are using AI, we are using this that, and how it is happening. So this is more on your technology and AI impact in your company. So how ready you are on it. So are you really ready? Are you taking steps and measures to, go ahead and compete with your peers, compete in the market? So what's your next step? Okay, so I have seen companies, even in our company as well. It's there is, kind of a set of team who can do only the research of it, who can do only market analysis. It's very critical. Okay, so when we talk about this, we are talking about AI replacing jobs. But we'll not talk about replacing here. We'll have to talk about redefining the jobs here. And we are doing this automated work, the repetitive task. So, how we are going to change and how we can show it to our customers? The only way we can show is that we are using AI and we are making it a very, the tedious work, we are making it very simple. We are just restricting all the repetitive tasks. We are allowing our human to focus on more strategy, and we have the problem solving skills. We look at that, look out at the creativity always. We are looking out how AI can be used as a creativity, a place of critical thinking. We are talking about AI literacy. So all those kind of things, if I'm talking about digital transition, this is very important for you as an organization to understand the impact which is going to make in the market in the next few years. And it is not today and tomorrow. It's going to change completely in the next 5 to 6 years, because we have live examples in it. So we are looking at people, we are looking at clients who are giving us, kind of requirements, a vast requirement, but with a very minimal workforce, and how that is possible. So, how ready you are in terms of evaluation. So, are you going to work towards AI, or you're doing proper research on it? Are you bringing everything towards, we are talking about Gen AI, we are talking about Claude, we are talking about all this, coding assisting mechanism and all that. So are you really doing it in seriously in your organization? So it is very important for everyone to start looking at a digital side of it. We are talking about readiness. Okay, so they'll have to push now digitally. So there is no other go. So obviously with some human touch. Okay, so human cannot be ignored. So when we're talking about technology, we'll also have to see whether all this digital transformation, if there is human touch in it. We'll also have to talk about continuous learning, empathy. We will have to talk about communication, employee well-being. So being in HR also, we'll have to think about all that. So this is very important, Joel. I'm sure that you're able to understand like what we are trying to, or maybe you're trying to discuss over here.
Absolutely bang on the topic, because I think you brought in the various shades or various caps which the HR has to play across in his journey in the organization when the business itself is uncertain and looking at a transformation phase. You also brought in insights about with this disruption happening, how ready are we to accept that change and look at upskilling initiatives and reskilling initiatives? So I think jobs, what you rightly could put it across, like jobs will become not obsolete but will be redesigned for the nature of business or the future workforce.
Correct. Yes.
Absolutely right, to be put across. And I think you also brought in that it's it's about a person who can look at to be retained. I think he needs to adapt. And when we look at the basic science, it always says it's about survival of the fittest, and how do we adapt to the change. And I think this is a very critical stage where we are also you also defined about the AI fluency. Knowing to use a chat gpt was just a basic need. Now I think as a expert, I think we need to
Yes.
come into a level where we know how to build AI agents who can help us across with our works.
Exactly.
And I think
Exactly.
we are also you also brought in to the perspective of where organizations are going to become more leaner with the technology as one of the arms towards transformation. Well defined thought process. I
So there
think
is no limitations, Joel. So we cannot limit ourselves. So we'll have to go and think beyond. So that is the only way that is possible now. I'm in fear definitely. Whenever I meet students, I also fear that what will be next for them, where they will be placed, whether their jobs will be taken by some computer, or I will be having a fear for all those changes, growth levels. Obviously, any individual will have that fear. So if we have the fear, obviously an organization will also have the fear. So, what is next that they are doing to overcome those fear, and what are the technology steps they are taking? So, I think the right team, a right department to understand the impact of AI, impact of the technology hikes is very important at this moment, and we have to just start rethinking the strategies.
I think you also brought in that's well detailed thought to the evolution of HR as well. We
Yes.
were just a personal department to the shift across to human resource management, human capital management, and then into human experience. And now from experience, we are also looking at enablers of business when you're looking at business strategy and everything. And also the first one to have a technological review for an organization or a business per se. It's very absolute. Uh, can you throw some light about how are you looking at business transformation and sustainability with a lot of things happening when you look at now the recent climate change in Tamil Nadu or the recent climate change in Bangalore, for instance? How can we as HR look at a sustainable business model or a responsible business model with regard to so many things happening at the technology and governance phase?
Joel, to be very frank, I think this environment has come and we can think about this environment change only post COVID. So when we had this pandemic, we were looking with various ways of surviving at that point of time in terms of technology, business, whether we will have kind of the same job, whether we are going to get it, whether we will sustain our kind of work, will business sustain, will technology will be the same, will there be any hiring first? Okay, so will people will be there in hiring? Thankfully, if I have to say and if I have to analyze this, IT was not impacted much because of the various plans that they might have done, and maybe somewhere they knew that what is the next steps, what is the strategy it should be taken. Okay, so this kind of pattern has come only post COVID, and because of that we can now think about redefining the work culture. So how do you redefine this work culture, and at the same time we'll have to sustain the business model. Yes, I definitely can say that with learning as one of the main thing, you can go ahead with many micro kind of courses. People can go with micro courses. Not only that, like for example, I'm an HR person or I take care of recruitment. It's not that I'm limited to learn only recruitment. Why not technology? Why should not I learn about AI? So tomorrow I can be an HR AI consultant. So why not? So I can do such courses. I can go ahead for real time training. So you have absolute time and you'll have to invest that. So you'll have to go ahead and learn. You'll have to just join hands with technology at the same time. You'll have to go with real time trainings. You'll have to have hands on experiences. But as an HR, to make everything sustainable, I believe, I'm not sure, like, as an organizational level, whether it will be suitable for all the planning. But definitely, one thing is that yes, you'll have to evolve with lot of learning. You'll have to start thinking in a very creative way. It is not that you will have to just sit and do your regular works. It's beyond that. So you will have to think creatively. So if I'm doing recruitment, why I'm not using AI in recruitment? So what next I can do that, given the scope if I'm having. So it doesn't stop with that alone. So it's a lot of things that you can do it beyond that. And about talking about hybrid, we are talking about gig works, we are talking about companies kind of trying to see if in case they can redefine the work model. It can be hybrid, it can be permanent work from home, or they can just come for a meeting or something like that. So it's such kind of things. People are still, companies are still trying to refine that model. And yes, we'll have to support that at the same time, because it's not about the organization. It's about the flexibility, the benefits that you're going to give it to the culture, the people who are working today. And these people are, again, going back to the same where we have started. People are choosy. So if in case you are going to hire the right person or the right skilled person, you should also have kind of to see whether how you can benefit them. Okay, so we'll have to kind of change such models. So definitely, adaptive culture, or maybe more empathetic, will have to become towards this. It's important now, Joel. We are talking
I
about
think with
distributed teams, I guess. We are talking about distributed teams, values, or inclusive kind of work practices, virtual, kind of collaboration meetings. It's very important nowadays. And I think somewhere, it will come in place in next 2 to 3 years.
I think you being a leader in the talent acquisition and the workforce management, I think you rightly pointed out being how a HR can be a responsible person for business and can look at transforming the business. And you also brought in about the gig economy, the freelancers, and how they are shaping the current organization, the future of workforce. And you've also brought in the human touch that needs to be present across when there is a technological diversification and change happening. And I think you also put across, like, in every individual needs to be a generalist and a specialist in his own field. And I think Dave Ulrich had a model of 4 quadrants, and we are shifting from that base into a T-shaped skill matrix across where people have a varied scope of learning and transformation happening. And I think you rightly put across this, everything end of the day boils down to what benefits an organization can provide for their workforce. Great
Correct.
thoughts, and putting it at a very simple and genuine way, keeping always the HR at the center and with the human touch. Absolutely needed when there is a technology. And I think you also brought in some mindset which the leaders who are there at the C-suite or at the leadership to have a governance part. Can you share what are the future generations looking at the benefits part? I think you did share something on benefits part as well. Few thoughts on that. And I think now HR also needs to look at well-being, the financial well-being, the health benefit plans. only the insurance or something would not be suffixing across for
Sufficient.
individual, because we are looking at a lot more of transformation at that segment as well. So I think at the future workforce, what challenges do you foresee in retaining a great talent in the organization?
Right. So I think we also have touched base on this point earlier about incentives. So incentives alone doesn't work now. That is only not the benefit, or compensation is not the benefit. As we used to say that you'll be having compensation hikes and this. So we cannot term that as a benefit anymore. Okay, insurance, again, that you have told that insurance, we cannot term that as a benefit anymore, because people are looking beyond that now, and their expectations are very clear. What is my roadmap? Okay, they're very clear. So what is my roadmap? If I am coming and joining your organization, so what next? I'll be promoted to in the next 1 year, or will I be having freedom of learning? Whether I'll be having, kind of a transparent kind of learning opportunity with your organization. I have got few candidates who have asked me those questions, and I was, really surprised when I were having such questions. Yes, we are an organization. We'll be providing you a good, opportunity to learn, and you can go and learn another technology. For example, if I am in VBCS, you can go and learn integration. You can go and learn fusion. So all those kind of things you will be getting for sure. So what the benefits today for me is your growth opportunities in that organization. It's not the title, it's not the designation, it's about your skills that you are really kind of enhancing in that company. So this is one thing that people are looking as a benefit. Flexibility, in case of if I have to talk about flexibility, like it's a fixed role. I'm talking about flexibility is like whether I am given a fixed role, or I'm flexible enough to work on different. If in case I'm somebody who is working on Prime, whether I'll be given a flexibility to work Fusion also, or maybe I can work in cloud also. So this is another kind of scenario where people look as a benefit, whether the work that I'm doing is meaningful or not. Meaningful to yourself, like as a resource, whether the work that I'm doing day to day is meaningful to my skill or not. So is it mapping to my skill or not, or something which I'm doing out of no interest? And the fourth point that I'll definitely say is that your work life balance. So how you're balancing it, they are very clear. So they used to say that I cannot work beyond this time. So if in case you need people who can work at night also, why don't you hire 3 people instead of one person who will be working more than 12 hours and supporting the tickets? So you will have to, kind of give chances to 3 people who can work in different time zones or different time shifts. You can decide what it is. So work-life balance is very important. They know what is work and they know how to balance the life. It's more on the serenity we'll have to give as HR leaders, or maybe as a manager of any project. They should also understand that it is not the traditional people who are saying okay for everything that you're assigning on them. It is about distribution now. It is about meaningful work. About you will have to also be empathetic towards them. That is the work that you're doing to any XYZ. Is it kind of suiting to your day-to-day work, or is it what you're liking it or not? So this kind of communication builds values. Okay, for me it builds values. It gives that confidence to that guy that yes, my manager is worried about my growth. So if there is no growth, why should I be here? So that term, it's very important for anybody as today's generation. So this is what the benefits that you're looking for. Inclusion is very important. So they look for inclusion, and extremely important is like their job choices. So whether we are going to give them the job choices or not, it helps in retention. So that is a long-term kind of thing. It helps in retention. So I think given taking care of these benefits, and any organization can help kind of arrest few problems and challenges which is already happening now. So as an organization, we'll have to look in that way.
That's a wonderful summary of like diversification, flexibility, benefits part, and then how is the work being delegated, how are ownership being taken, how is inclusion being answered across with everything across with a human touch. And I think you also brought in a wider spectrum about like what is the growth pattern, is it vertical or is it horizontal growth within the
Horizontal.
organization as well. And so okay, so when we look at all these things happening across in the future workforce, how do you think organization should measure the productivity which is there in the future workforce? How can it be governed, or how can be measured across?
We measure productivity only by the appreciations. So it's a huge way of kind of applauding the consultant or the resource that you have done the best and you have done beyond something which were expected. So if in case the previous benefits are taken care, why there is a question on productivity? They definitely will have to raise on their productivity bar, and they'll be looking on excellence always. So we have people who have we were given they were given the importance of the choices. Okay, so if in case we have arrested the choices, so productivity is equal. So you'll have to do it, you'll have to kind of enhance there. So you're doing star, you're becoming a meritorious person there. So always the productivity can be given in such a way that it's your result, it's your appreciation, rather than working how many hours or how many timesheet, what is the timesheet that you have filled in. It's nothing to do in that. Yes, clients wants that is very important, but yes, it's more on quality work. Okay, so apart from we talk about quality work rather than quantity of work. So it's as simple as that. And definitely when we talk about all those measuring productivity, we'll have to see like if the organization is doing a good talent development programs there, we'll have to also work on workforce planning, realigning the workforce based on their skills, their competence and the skill, their planning, all those kind of things have to be taken care. And yes, if their strategy, if anyone's and resource strategy is matching with the business goals or not. So if in case it is meeting each other, then definitely there is a huge productivity coming in from the department or for the pool.
Put it like
Joel, you're there?
yes, absolutely. And I think you brought in the perspective of like the HR is also transforming themselves from the administrative to the strategy portion with
Yeah, we talk about change management. When we talk about change management, here it starts. We're talking about future strategy, something new coming in. So all those transition is very important for strategic role now.
Absolutely, and you also told about how we ensure we are taking care of those. And can you look at what might be the risk an organization will have to take it if they're not adapting to this change?
Main being a huge or maybe a quality workforce leaving the company, or maybe there'll be a huge problem in decision making in the future. So if in case we cannot predict this now, there'll be huge problem in decision makings. There'll be no hiring, no improvement in hiring, and there'll be no improvement in performances and overall productivity. Okay, so if in case we are not taking this changes now, if we are not focusing on the right workforce, we are not focusing on technology, skills, work, performance, etc. now, then there can be a huge risk on attrition kind of. If in case we have to put it in HR word, it's again attrition can come. There'll be challenges in decisions. And yes, we'll not be able to pick up the right projects or right client, and there'll be something which we'll have to arrest now. So that can be the challenges from here.
I think you rightly put, like if you don't change or if you don't adapt, you will not be in the next survival bucket. So I think that's rightly said across. Like I think I can share a personal example over here is my dad was with the government agencies. So he worked for around 32 years in the same organization and he could retire. When we look at our generation, we shifted across in different organization when we looked at our basic needs being taken care of. Now we are at a generation where which is being very upfront and being very dynamic about asking their needs and taking care of those things. Can you throw some part on like utility of technology being done in some areas in the organization, and there might be some places where this over dependence on technology has also brought in loss of a human touch, because we discussed a lot on the empathy part. So how do you look at, how do you balance the right technology usage and not overdoing technology where actually there has to be a human connection to be established?
Yeah. So, Joel, to talk about here as leaders. So, I'm not talking as me as a leader, any leader in the organization who have a responsible kind of dependency on them, and they'll have to look forward for the career growth of a team. So, if in case he is rightly kind of mentoring someone, he or she have to see whether he is utilizing the right skills in the right department. If he is not doing it, if the work is not meaningful again, so there can be a huge, kind of gap between this technology and the resource overall expectations. Okay, so he'll have to align those part. What can happen here? Extreme problems will be like, we can lose that skill or we can lose that person, business decline, client, kind of complaints, escalations can happen. So since we have to, kind of look forward as client as our king, we'll have to always see whether we are giving the right person to the right work. So we'll have to judge first whether the person that we are selecting for the project is the right fit or not. So the right fit for the right work is very important, and that is, as a leader, you'll have to identify. So what you'll have to do, you'll have to go with, again, workforce planning. You'll have to go with your talent development programs. You'll have to see performance improvement plans if somebody is going behind. So all those kind of measures, it's a work of a leader always to see that. It's not that you are pulling him down. It's that how, with the support of technology, you are uplifting him. So it's your work, how you're predicting those things from your team, and you should be able to say that you'll have to mark them. You'll have to have your own parameters of judging someone. So he is good in technology, or somebody is good in communication, or he is good in client facing, he is good in handling functional part. So this is the way you are setting your parameters with your team, and you'll have to place it in that way. So this probability, this kind of choosing part as a leader, it's a prime work to do. Enhance them. You'll have to definitely give them correct way, correct focus based works with the support of human touch and technology again. So that's very important.
With criticality, you had explained why technology can't replace everything in the HR or anything in the business. That's absolutely right. You also brought in some insights about mentoring. So my next thought would be like, there's a diverse workforce. There's a workforce which is digitally first and tech savvy. So how do you place it with mentoring? You had given us a lot of insights. How do you place it at the reverse mentoring part, wherein a young person is helping it across to adult who has a crunch or a difficulty with adapting to the technology? Can you share some insights or any thought on that thing as well?
Definitely. See, if I have to talk about reverse mentoring, I'm talking also about adaptability. So if in case you'll have to, if you're using the work adapting and, learning, the same, a person, a junior or a senior, we don't see as junior or senior. It's like how skilled you are. So a person can have experiences, but somewhere he is learning. A person might have skills, but somewhere he'll have to learn as an experienced person. It's again vice versa. So you'll have to focus on that word called adaptation. And if in case you're not adapting to the technology, or if you're not adapting to the continuous learning, then again, there is definitely a gap. So I will definitely suggest someone that, again, your learning is not limited. Even yesterday I have done some certifications into technology, which is not part of my bucket at all. So, but my leader was telling me that go ahead and do it. It's more on learning. So few concepts I was not knowing about it. I have asked my juniors who have come up and kind of given me an explanation in that, who are technical guys who have given me an explanation. It's not looking back. It's like moving forward. You're knowing one thing at a time. You're adapting to the technology. So it's completely okay about reverse mentoring.
It's a simple thing saying accepting the change and adapting to it.
It's right. More of accepting. It's and then only you can be included today.
Absolutely. And I think we coming into the conclusion part of our discussion, but actually speaking, should be like a 2-part or a 3-part series with the various examples you had cited across. So I think can you help us across with what might be top 3 or 3 immediate things which an organization should prepare for the facing the future workforce? What should they do across?
I'll definitely say that a company, whichever sector they are in, they can be IT, they can be manufacturing, they can be in banking, fintech, etc. So they should first find out that what is their next 10-year strategy. It's not that we are talking about AI today, but later, like after post 10 years, there'll be something more than AI also. So how they're adapting themselves and what is the plan they're having. They are having their backup. They have some plan. How they're, what is the plan they're having to train the workforce today and take it forward to face the situation after 10 years. So are they having some plan like that? So simply, I'll talk about training. I'm talking about upskilling kind of thing. And this is how organization to have to prepare themselves today. So if an organization is into that platform like upskilling and training, giving and understanding the strategy, the future strategy, they're in the right path always. They'll also have to adapt again. The same word that we'll be using again and again today. They'll have to adapt to the new culture, new work styles. They'll have to go with new models that technology or non-technology also will bring in the market in few years. So they'll have to identify that how they are, kind of taking it ahead. And they'll also have to kind of integrate technology in their day-to-day, kind of work. Obviously, they'll have to be more human-centric as well, because human also, or the workforce today, are also sensitive to many things. They are also seeing every day if their skills and if their kind of competence are meeting the work or not. So they are always mapping that here and there. So we'll have to also see that the work that they're doing, if it is human centric or if it is falling into the policies or not. So all those kind of things a company have to take as an immediate measures to see to sustain in the next 10 years or maybe in the future work trend that is coming very soon.
That's a lot of intake for people who would be listening to this podcast either on live or on our YouTube channel to understand what can be done by organizations to adapt to the future. What should be the first priority for an organization to redesign themselves to ensure this is being taken care? Any one or two?
For me, yes. One thing will be the learning part always. They'll have to give first priority to learning driven technology or culture. They'll have to, kind of train the people in such a way that or train the employees in such a way that if you are not learning today, if you are not, kind of focusing on the technology now, it's going to be difficult and challenging in the next few years. So that has to be instilled to the employees and as an organization as a whole. So that part is very important, and a technology balance is also very important. When I talk about balance, it's about the human and the skills which is given to them, or the technology which is allocated to them. That is very important. If there is any balance between it or not, yeah, continuous learning is what I'll definitely say. That's the best way a company can, start planning their models in the future.
Lot of thought to the discussion we had, and I think before we come into the conclusion part of the discussion with the thoughts from Smita across. I think let me put it across, like how did we channelize on the discussion today. I think we focused on how changing is the nature of work and the definition of workforce and everything. We looked at few inferences from there, and from there we looked at how is the workforce impacted with the technology, by the change in technology and the AI's impact on that. From there we looked at what is the adaptability of the talent and the skill gap, or the skill evolution, or the skill latency that is going to come over in the future workforce. From that, I think ma'am did brought in some, not some actually, but great thoughts about the various workforce models and the flexibility that needs to be set in for the future generation. That also brought in how adaptable the leadership and the cultural shift has to happen in the organization. From there we set across and we sailed across to what are the expectations from the employees across in the future. And you also brought in how well it can be strategized and measured across for the future workforce. And from there you brought in what can be the challenges which we are looking at now, or what can be the governance, or what can be the risk and the continuity things, looking at the organizations to adapt, to be sustainable, and be adapt into a responsible business practices across. And you also brought in now what should be the action plan and what should be the future readiness. So I think 6 to 7 layered thought of discussion on the future workforce. Thank you, Smita, for your valuable time. But before we conclude with our session for today, can you help us across with a one line or a two kind of a sentence where you say, how do you define an organization to be successful in the future workforce? So how can you define, or how can we, if I see any organization, the workforce understands, okay, this is the organization I should go about something. How do you define that for an organization who is looking at the future workforce?
An organization definitely who is having a well planned technology model with lot of human connection with it, empathy with it, critical thinking, or maybe you can say emotional intelligence in it, with the support of technology. Those organizations have a way long to go. So they just have to enhance the skills that they're already having inside their organization. They have to just identify the right person.
I think you rightly brought about organizations' survival depends on the people, and how do we map those people to the future? How do we embrace them with the technology, but still holding on the human touch across? It's a lot of learning across for me as a budding leader in the HR space. We would like to open the forum if there are any questions to be sought from Smita. And if not, for the people who are watching us across, when we put up this episode in our channel across in YouTube, please do reach us to Smita via LinkedIn. She'll be happy to take your questions across, or you can always reach us to the partner Sapient HR for facilitating any discussions or anything on that. So we would like to thank Smita for her valuable time across, and giving a lot of insights about the future workforce. So this is Indwin signing off from our episode 8 of Leadership Lens by powered by Sapient HR. Everyone have a great evening and a great weekend ahead, and wishing everyone a happy Labour's Day.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Joel.
Thank you, Smita.